And sanctions are set to hit Russian lawmakers, along with measures to ensure existing sanctions hit home. Washington is preparing for security meetings this week with the EU.
Ahead of those meetings in Brussels, questions are being asked about Russia's future participation in forums like the G20. Stuart Smith joins us live now from Moscow, where there are Russian government restrictions on what journalists can report regarding military activities in Ukraine. Stuart, China backs Russia's continued membership of the Group of 20, but Moscow is bristling now at suggestions that it ought to be excluded.
That's right. Nothing formally has been said, but Russia says the United States is trying with allies to attempt to force Russia out of the G20. This happened to Russia before in a different forum, in what used to be called the G8. It became the G7 when Russia was kicked out by members of the forum after it annexed Crimea. And Russia believes there is a plan to try and make that happen again. But China already has stepped in to say that it would not allow that. It says the G20 is the main forum for international economic cooperation and that Russia is an important member, and no member has the right to expel another country. It's also worth pointing out that any member could veto such a decision, and China's already made its position clear that it would veto that. On top of that, Russia says that the G20 should not be used to discuss Ukraine. And we know that the Russian president, Vladimir Putin, is looking to head to Bali in Indonesia to attend the conference, but is keen that this now should not be discussed. Indonesia, who's hosting the conference, said that it will keep the forum focused on its initial objectives, implying that it would try to keep Ukraine off the agenda. But many members will want to discuss what's going on, and certainly the economic impact at the world stage is already being felt. By the end of the year, it's only likely to have increased.
Stuart, meantime, Poland becomes the latest country to expel Russian diplomats. What's the reaction been from Moscow?
That's right. Well, the Russian ambassador reacted to that, saying that there's nothing he can do. Poland has the right to expel these diplomats, but Poland has no evidence to substantiate what's going on, that there is no basis for Poland to do so, and that Russia will be taking reciprocal measures. And in the past, when one country has expelled Russian diplomats, Russia has tended to do the same, sometimes going even further in terms of the number or the status of diplomats that it expels in return from Moscow. The Polish intelligence services say that these 45 officials were using their diplomatic status to engage in spying, in using their diplomatic cover as a way to allow them to access information that they shouldn't have been doing, and that not all of them were working directly for Russian intelligence services, but some of them were, but also the majority of them were made up of people aiding Russian intelligence. The minister in charge of coordinating special services in Poland says this is part of a broader, unrelenting crackdown on Russian intelligence operatives in the country. But this will only increase strains between Moscow and Warsaw at the time when tomorrow Poland is going to bring a proposal to the NATO military alliance to allow NATO troops to be deployed in Ukraine. It's a proposal that's unlikely to make any progress, with the United States, for one, very keen not to let that happen. But it just shows Poland how both worried it is with a border with Belarus, from which Russia launched its special military operation, as it's called here, and also sharing a border with Ukraine.
Stuart, thank you for that. Stuart Smith there in Moscow. Now you're looking at live video of a meeting of Vladimir Putin and Russian ministers discussing the Russian economy. Mr. Putin says Russia plans to switch to Russian rubles when selling gas to non-friendly countries. He says the government has ordered the national energy supplier Gazprom to make changes to gas contracts. Mr. Putin also says moves by foreign countries to freeze Russian assets has destroyed trust.
Социально значимая продукция отгружается на предприятия торговли